The fourth story, Cistern. A truck going down the street is surprising enough these days, but a zombie driving it? That's just not standard zombie behavior. If you've ever seen any of George Romero's classics, then you already know that. It's amazing how much of zombies George got right. I don't know if he was a genius, a prophet, or just logical. I'm guessing the latter. Creatures with soup for brains and a craving for flesh, basic MO ain't that difficult to project. Some things he didn't get right, though, like how it happened. In the Night of the Living Dead franchise, he posited a satellite crashing back to Earth and zombies generating from the radiation. The truth was more like 28 days later. A bug. Not from a lab or evil military experiments, just something naturally occurring. Best explanation came from the CDC some years ago. A necrotic animating bacteria infecting the brains of recently deceased persons. Plausible, since zombies reproduce just like a bacterial colony. George also didn't get the zombie victim issue quite right. When a zombie killed you in his movies, you came back. But real zombies don't leave enough of their kills for anything to animate. I've never seen a finger or part of an intestine suddenly come to life. You will turn zombie if they bite you, as George showed, but not after a few days of weird fever and lethargy. Right away, in just seconds. Scary, especially if you're standing next to the bitey when it happens. That's pretty much how they took over the world. See, they're fast. Very fast. Like the quick killers in Dawn of the Dead. You're walking along minding your own business and wham! 10 or 15 of them all over you, so have to get up a set of stairs. They're not very good on stairs. That's why I have a series of planks and ropes connecting the second stories of all these condos together. I can run from building to building when I don't feel like fighting. Something else George got wrong. They'll eat each other. That's good on one hand, cuts down their numbers, but bad on the other because only the best of zombies are still around. And they'll stay around. Since the supply of tasty lives is dwindling, the smart zombies are increasingly turning to the dumb ones. I'd hoped that all eventually starve, like in the already mentioned 28 Days, but in that movie they were just running around pissed off. Real zombies eat well, and don't die. They don't. Think of it. How do you kill a bacterial colony? Lysol? Tried that once and all I got was a pretty mad but fragrant zombie chasing me. You have to burn them to a crisp or drop them in a vat of acid to assure a kill, so cut them, gut them, and leave them for their friends. Or starvation. Even bacteria have to eat. Headshots, yeah, that's another one old George messed up. It's funny how in the beginning people took their cues from Romero. Even when hordes of the damn things were racing down streets, sweeping up whole populations, and eating them down to the toenails, a lot of folks treated them like the night dead types. You know, the shambling, blank-eyed moaners. So, went about their business like they had all day. Stupid. Long after even the dullest had given up that trope, I still ran into lives who thought that headshot thing. Shotguns and pistols are only good against lives. Who's such a good shot they can take out the patellas of a zombie horde running up on you at 30 miles per hour? Samurai sword. When you absolutely positively have to cripple every freaking zombie in the room. Love mine. It's real. Got it out of a gun shop. Man, is it sharp. I got pretty good with it by watching a bunch of Toshiro Mifune movies. Not Kill Bill. hokey Western concept. Another good training film is that Robert Mitchum one, The Yakuza. Copy the way Takakura Ken moves and you can handle the sword pretty well. Works like this. I'll be out during the day, which is a no-no, but sometimes you have to explore possible caches in full light. Zombies don't slosh around much at night, turning into the shamblers for some reason, so we lives pretty much live our lives by the stars. Every once in a while, though, gotta see the sun. Funny, it's like a reverse 30 Days of Night, with artistic license taken, of course. Anyway, I'll be nosing around some Starbucks overlooked by previous looters. Love me some fresh beans, I do. When a zombie platoon will suddenly appear. I've got this patented move. Turn like I'm running away, but I'm actually spinning on my heel while drawing the sword from over my shoulder. I keep the scabbard on my back because I have orangutan arms, and it's the only way to draw comfortably. I'll cut through an outstretched arm and pretty much through one leg, dropping the zombie in the other's path, and they fall over each other like a Three Stooges routine. Then it's a matter of slicing through the pile, taking out legs and arms until they're just a bloody mess of torso snapping at me and each other. Skedaddle before the growling and screeches attract another patrol, come back a few nights later, hoping some lives haven't beat me to it, and load up beans. There'll still be a few writhing torsos, but all they do is chew on their neighbors. You'd think, with all the close contact, I'd have been bitten. They've come close, but I wear anti-stick gloves and body armor and stay just out of range. I get splashed with zombie blood quite a bit, of course, and have swallowed my share, but never suffered any effects. Odd. A bite turns you, but swallowing the blood doesn't. That drove the CDC nuts before they were overrun. A few of their top scientists posited it wasn't bacteria, but something else entirely. A new life form, a bactrus, and a viteria, whatever. I keep taking penicillin, avoid bites, go merrily on my way. Phil thinks it's just a matter of time before we all churn, but I'm not convinced. He said my penicillin was just hardening the something else entirely, and eventually I'd have to eat truckloads to keep from turning. Phil is a bit of a pessimist. I laugh and offer him a couple of ampicillins to go with his Bowmore. Get that crap away from me. But he's grinning. Phil is all right. We lives have a pretty robust social life, even though we're in competition. Just so many food stores in the greater metropolitan area, you know. But it's friendly competition, and we make pains not to tread on each other's territory. Disputes generally resolve through a drinking contest or an actual duel, if the disputants are just too mule-headed. We don't like doing that because there just aren't that many of us. Fewer each week. We meet on Friday nights at Live Music, which is Kelly's Dive on the 11th floor of some building down by the river. Live having a wry connotation. We sing rounds, lots of old Irish stuff like Danny Boy and Wild Rover. Pretty good time had by all. We trade gossip and will at some point head to the back and the breeders. There's the pleasure aspect, of course, but also the duty to renew the species. Not that we're overly successful. We've had only 2 or 3 pregnancies come to term, and only one of those actually lived past 2 years. He's 10 now and cute as a button and turning into quite the knife man. His mom will make an occasional appearance to great cheers from we happy few. Good to hear a contralto among all those basses. Wish we could hear more, but there just aren't a lot of women. Didn't have the strength and speed to fend off zombies. Those that survived made their way to breeder locations and set up shop, safe and prosperous, because we pay with food and whatever we can find. It isn't some macho chauvinism causing all this, just nature. Feminism is great in decadent, fat times, but not in a state of nature. So no exclusive girlfriends and definitely no wives, which should mean jealousy is no longer an issue, but of course it is. Nature, human nature. A couple of the names on Kelly's Wall of Heroes are there because guys can't control themselves. And there's even a couple of female names for the same reason. Too bad. And because guys can't control themselves, there's a lot of pairing among the boys. Fine. If you gotta stick it somewhere and can't wait your turn, knock yourself out. I don't swing that way, but don't begrudge those who do. I draw the line with zombie relations, though. Not that it happens a lot, but you hear stories. If I ever came across a live doing a zombie, I'd cut both of them in half. Not only is it revolting, it's species betrayal. Not going to stand for that. And I'm not going to stand for some damn zombie driving a dump truck either. I watch, utterly amazed through my peephole as the truck lumbers by. It takes me a moment to gather wits because, hey, zombie driving a truck? But then I grab my sword and a backup Tonto and head across a plank bridge in pursuit. It's full daylight and I'm armored. I'm always armored, even when sleeping, because I'm not all that convinced zombies won't one day figure out how to get up the stairs. I mean, there's one driving a truck. Who saw that coming? The truck's not going very fast, so it's not that hard staying with it until I get to the end of my complex. Then I have to go downstairs, and that slows me down. Don't want to stumble into a pack of grazing zombies. The street slows me down even more because zombies are sharp-sighted and apparently have a dog's ability to smell, so I hug two-story buildings in case I gotta run. But I manage to keep the truck in sight. It's closed up, so I have no idea what the zombie's hauling. Probably nothing. It's just acting out some vestigial memory, just like that badass zombie in Land of the Dead going out to the gas pumps every time the bell rang. I expect the truck to crash at any moment, but it doesn't. It makes turns right out of the city, which is a problem. In the burbs, there's a dearth of two-story buildings. No live in his right mind lives out there. No zombie does either, congregating downtown hoping to snag an unwary live and a hot meal. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few crazy zombies tooling around. Crazy zombies. So I lose sight of the truck because I'm looking for trouble instead, but I can still hear it. You can hear everything miles away now, since traffic has died down a bit. Hardy har har. Which of course poses another question. How the heck did a zombie manage to find the last functioning truck in America? Who would have such a truck, stored and lovingly maintained all this time? With none of us hearing about it? No way. And a zombie gets it started and is merrily driving it around the city? No freaking way. Something else must be happening. Something very, very unusual, and very unusual stuff is usually very bad. And I'm not one to put up with very bad things happening in my general vicinity. Being proactive is how I've stayed alive so long. A lot of the other guys hunker down behind fortifications and barricades, but that's stupid. George C. Scott said as much in Patton. Gonna get caught in there one day, I tell them. They tell me to screw off. Fine. I'm for taking the fight to the enemy, so I'll hide up on a stairwell and wait for a zombie patrol to wander by, then drop down among them, slash, pile of growling, snapping torsos, and I'll scream real loud and another patrol will come busting in, and slash again, and soon there's a mountain of mad zombie heads all trying to get me, using their tongues to crawl, for Christ's sake. Makes me laugh, and I leave, knowing enough another patrol will be there soon to eat up what's left. Cuts their numbers down and keeps them away from my hidey hole. But if they're out driving around, I pelt down several alleys, noting places where I can barricade a door and fight if need be until night comes. The truck is still on the air, but after a couple of miles I stop because, wait a minute. That's not one truck anymore. That's several trucks. A zombie convoy? What the hell? I haven't been out to this part of the city in a decade or more, but I remember the layout. Typical industrial sector, office and factory parks surrounded by the plebes' residences, all anchored around a series of reservoirs because you gotta have water. If I recalls me geography right, there's a lovely reservoir in the direction of that truck traffic. What the hell? What would a bunch of trucks be doing at a lake? A bunch of trucks driven by zombies. No way. Maybe somebody's figured out how to enslave zombies and is using them as an unpaid workforce for some kind of project out there. Like in that old 40s flick, King of the Zombies. Putting zombies to good use. Man, that would be revolutionary. Must check this out. I sprint down the street, catching myself at the corner like Wile E. Coyote on one leg and jumping back inside a partially collapsed garage. Gotta be careful, even though a zombie chain gang working in the coal mine has me all a giggle. Good thing, because right about that time, I catch sight of another truck moving on the street behind me. No, not a truck. A bus, driven by and filled with zombies, which floors me. I have to rub my eyes a couple of times and pinch myself to make sure I'm not having some bizarre dream.
What?
The king of the zombies has public transit, getting the undead out to the job site like a bunch of cubicle drones? Man, who is this guy? The only way to find out is follow, and fortunately the bus is slower than the truck, so I keep up. There doesn't seem to be any patrols, and I move somewhat openly. The roads here turn country pretty quick, which means no buildings to use as shelter. Lots of woods, though, and I could climb a tree, but I'm not sure if that's wise. Zombies could be like bears and just wait until I fell out from starvation. Best not to be seen or smelled. I hump through the brush by the side of the road, waiting for upwind breezes. The whole time, zombie-filled buses and trucks are going by. Quite the operation, this. I throw caution to the upwinds and begin running beside the road, keeping out of sight as much as possible until the smell hits me. Gagging, I stagger back into the thick brush and clamp a hand over my nose. We lives have quite the tolerance for rotted meat. There's always being some kind of fresh kill, either zombie or one of us, baking in the sun somewhere. But this, it's like a gas attack of decay and rot. I gasp for air at the base of a tree. The rot is so thick you can taste it. Man, how does the king of the zombies cope? I crawl up some rise seeking breathable air. Back when I was in the army, I was in really good shape. But the one thing that always did me in was the freaking low crawl. I'm definitely not in as good a shape as I was back then, so a few minutes to catch my breath. Okay. Cautiously, I peer over the top. The reservoir is below, decent sized, with an earthen dam on one side and an access road all the way around. Woods right up to the water's edge. Urban lake gone all to seed, with remnants of picnic areas and outbuildings scattered about. Below the dam is a spillway, and I can see water pooled down there. Pretty deep and frothy. Frothy? There's a line of dump trucks on the far side, one back down a ramp and lifting its load while 3 or 4 others wait behind. A couple of zombies emerge from the pump house, look down at the spillway, then go back inside. Moments later, the water changes flow. They're running the pump house? Astounding, and I shift for a better view. There's recent construction below the spillway. A makeshift cistern of some kind, but not running any wheels or dynamos or anything like that. Too slow. The water just pooled there, brown and scummy. Several pipes are stuck in the lower half of it, and at each end, a zombie stands at a turn wheel. A line of zombies snakes back from the end of the pipes to a bunch of buses on the other side. Zombies disembark and join the queue. I blink. What are they doing? The zombie at the wheel turns it and brown sludge flows out, where a queued zombie lips around the pipe end, drinks long and deep, then shuffles back up the hill to the bus. Another zombie replaces him, and the attendant zombie turns the wheel, and the guys come out of the pump house and measure progress, and the dump trucks keep coming. There ain't a live in sight, so no king of the zombies. This is an all-zombie, all-the-time operation, which raises a few thousand million questions, all of them beginning with, "Holy crap, what in the Sam Hill is going on?" But there's a better question. What's in the cistern, Mac? I focus my attention on the trucks. Whatever they're dumping feeds the cistern, and given the nature of zombie nourishment, can't be good. I watch a load slip out. Looks like a mass of brown and black dirt with lumps interspersed. Say, unprocessed compost. The zombies have broken into an old sewage plant and started a hauling operation? Why didn't they all just congregate at the sewage plant and slake thirst there? Why all the effort? You think zombies are logical? I chuckle, and that notches the tension down a bit. Okay, this is Artifact, a series of half-remembered pre-zombie tasks. Some recall driving trucks, others recalled loading trucks. Others remember picnics, so they head out on buses driven by reawakened drivers. Rote activity. Twitches of a dead nervous system. Just a series of coincidences making it look like there's planning and forethought. But if it quacks like a duck... Uneasy, I began another agonizing crawl just short of the ridge top, heading towards the dump point. Need to see what's in those trucks. After about 7 days and as many layers of epidermis, I'm there, panting. The trucks are using the road right below me, and I peek over. Dang, the load's covered with canvas. But the canvas is moving. Gotta be the truck's motion, but no, the canvas is shaking and bulging and pulsing, so the load is alive. What? Animals? Puppies from some farm? Oh, man, zombies are just the worst, ain't they? The truck backs down the ramp. There's a fortunate gap between tree limbs, and I can look directly at the back of the truck as the zombie driver tilts the bed and it flaps open, dumping a giant load of gnashing, screeching, zombie heads and parts into the spillway. So, zombies are dumping zombies, or what's left of zombies, into the water. Now, why in the world are they doing that? I imagine the buses down at the cistern and the queue of zombies slurping for the pipes, and it takes a few moments before the conclusion is not only staggering, but so disgusting, I feel bile rise. Meat milkshake.
Ugh, disgusting.
The zombies have made a giant pool of rotted meat soup right there in the cistern and have set up a soup kitchen Instead of ranging around looking for us, they've gone into mass production. Freaking impossible. So startled, disgusted, terrified, whatever I am that I make too big of a movement and a zombie looks up, roars, and points. I am a dead man. Soon to be part of the milkshake. There are answering roars from the truck line and the soup line, and every zombie in America will be pouring up the hillside after me. I jump up, whipping out the sword and brandishing it at the truck zombies, who all stand in a line pointing and roaring. A lot like Donald Sutherland in that remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You ain't getting me easy, I yell and swing the sword in a threatening manner while eyeing the drop-off and wondering if I can scramble down, cut one of the zombies out of a truck, and drive it back home. It'd be nice to have a working truck. And then the zombies do something extraordinary. Nothing. After a few seconds of pointing and roaring, they get back to work. Gotta be a trick. But no, they're downright ignoring me. What the hell? Now I'm more peeved than anything, so I stomp around being noisy and obvious because I'd like nothing more than whittle a few of them down to stumps, but no reaction. I go back to the soup line overlook and the whole parade stops and looks at me for just a second or two and then goes back to slurping pipes. One of them actually waves. I'm not the brightest guy, God giving me fast reactions instead of brains, but it comes clear after a few moments, and I can't help it. I start laughing. I laugh for a good 5 minutes, sheathing the sword and shaking my head, and even getting a couple of more friendly waves from the soup line participants. I walk back down the hill, not even bothering to hide. The passing zombies all react the same, a roar, a point, and then ignore. I don't get cautious until I'm back in the suburbs, but I'm not trying to avoid attack. I'm in ambush mode, something the soup line zombies will appreciate. I am their shepherd. Tend to the herd, slaughtering dumb zombies, leaving them piled in wriggling hills of meat for the smart zombies who will shovel them into the back of a truck and dump them in the cistern, a continuous supply of good, wholesome meat shakes. And the smart ones leave we happy few alone. The benefits of symbiosis. I hear several footfalls and growls a couple of streets over and unsheath. Time to do my part. The end.